Assalamualaikum and selamat sejahtera to everyone. So our group would like to present about financial management assignment, where we were using a Genting Group Berhad as a company X and Berjaya Group Berhad as a company Y. So for company X, we choose Genting Group Berhad. The Genting Group is a company headquartered in the Wisma Genting in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It comprises the holding company Genting Berhad. So the main attraction of this company is casino, theme park, concert, show, food, beverage and retail shopping. From its initial leisure and hospitality activities, the Genting Group has expanded and diversified into other activities including plantation, properties, power generation, oil and gas, e-commerce, information technology and biotechnology. So basically this company is a very big company. For the company Y, we choose Berjaya Group Berhad. This is because Berjaya Group Berhad has the same size operation and both of them are very big industry in Malaysia. So most of the interaction and services are almost the same with Genting. Both of them were affected by SARS as they have an attraction that caused a lot of people to not use their main attraction, like the hotel and resort, retail shopping, and theme park. So people wanted to stay at home and not get affected by SARS.
So here are the annual report from Genting Group Berhad from 2001 until 2004. Started with income statement, balance sheet, statement of changes in equity, and cash flow statement. Moving forward to Berjaya Group Berhad from 2001 until 2004. Started with balance sheet, income statement, changes in equity, and the last one is cash flow statement.
Now we need to calculate the ratio. First of all is liquidity ratio. Liquidity ratio are needed to know the ability to pay off debt that are maturing within a year. There are two types of liquidity ratio, which is current ratio and quick or acid test ratio. For current ratio is the comparison of current asset to current liabilities, calculated by dividing the current asset by your current liabilities. A good current ratio is between 1.2 to 2. Hence, for both the company, they are doing good. Second is quick or acid test ratio. This ratio is a measure of how well a company can meet its short-term financial liabilities. A common formula is current assets subtract with inventory divided by current liabilities. So we can conclude that for Genting Group Berhad, they has faster inventory turnover and cash conversion cycle because they are increasing in this ratio. For Berjaya Group Berhad, they are decreased from 1.3 to 2:1. The commonly acceptable current ratio is 1, but may vary from industry to industry. So both of the company, they are actually doing pretty good. Second category is debt management ratio. Debt management ratio are needed to know on how effective is the firm in managing its debt. There are two types of ratio, which are debt ratio and time interest earn ratio, TIE. First of all is debt ratio. Debt ratio's formula is total liabilities divided by total asset. By looking at the slide, we can conclude that lower ratio, which is 0.4 or lower than that, are considered better debt ratio. So for Genting Group Berhad, they are maintain their ratio, which is 0.04 and 0.07. So they are actually in a very good debt ratio. For Berjaya Group Berhad, the ratio increased from 0.58 to 0.7. A higher debt ratio make it more difficult to borrow money. Lenders often have debt ratio limits and do not extend further credit to firms that are over leveraged. But in 2003 and 2004, they are maintained the ratio at 0.23. Second is TIE. TIE ratio measure a company's ability to meet its debt obligation on a periodic basis. The ratio calculated by dividing a company's EBIT by its periodic interest expenses. The TIE's main purpose is to help quantify a company's probability of default. It helps determine relevant debt parameters such as the appropriate interest rate to be charged or the amount of debt that a company can safely take on. So by looking at the slides for Genting Group Berhad, their TIE increased until 2002 and decrease started in 2003 till 2004. The higher the TIE ratio, the better. However, a company with an excessively high TIE ratio could indicate a lack of productive investment by the company's management. An excessively high TIE suggests that the company may be keeping all of its earnings without reinvesting in business development through research and development, or through pursuing positive NPV project. This may cause that the company to face a lack of profitability and challenge related to sustained growth in the long term. So for Berjaya Group Berhad, they are loss-making but still need to calculate the TIE, therefore the figure were in negative. Only in 2003 they are making profit, therefore the figure were in positive.
Profitability. Profitability ratios are a class of financial metrics that are used to assess a business ability to generate earnings relative to its revenue, operating costs, balance sheet asset, and shareholder equity over time, using data from a specific point in time. Firstly, profit margin. We can conclude that the Genting Group Berhad profit margin decreased from 2001, 93% to 2002, 89%, but increased in 2003, 91.2%, and decreased again in 2004, which is 90%. It means cost of goods sold remain at constant percentage of sales in 2003. Different to Berjaya Group Berhad, they record no cost of goods sold in 4 years straight. Move to the next, return on asset. We can conclude that for Genting Group Berhad, return on asset decreased from 2001, 32% to 2002, 27%, and keep decreasing to 18% and 16% in 2003 and 2004. It shows the company might have over-invested in assets that have failed to produce revenue growth. Different to Berjaya Group Berhad, they record increasing from negative 21% in 2002 to 14% in 2003. Last but not least, return on equity. From above, we can conclude that for Genting Group Berhad, return on equity decreased from 2001, 9.4% to 2002, 9.1%, and keep decreasing to 7.9% and 7.4% in 2003 and 2004. It shows the company is becoming less efficient at creating profit and increasing shareholder value. Different to Berjaya Group Berhad, they record increasing from negative 89% in 2002 to 11% in 2003. Yes, we would like to invest in Company X, which is Genting Group Berhad. In 2003, LGT has handed over the chairmanship of the Genting Group to his son, Tan Sri Lim Kok Teh. It was the beginning of Genting's transformation journey from a local player to become an international integrated resort operator. Genting Malaysia Berhad, a 49.3% owned subsidiary of Genting Berhad, owns and operates major resort destinations in Malaysia, the United Kingdom, the United States, and Bahamas. As we would like to show that there are many good things of Genting Group Berhad that we can invest on. As we can see, in 2003, Malaysia suffered from severe acute respiratory syndrome, which is we call SARS. Genting Group Berhad recorded a 91.2% of profit margin, which is higher than a year before, 89% in 2002. Other than that, their revenue in 2003 also higher, which is RM 438.8 million. than in 2002, which the revenue is RM 429.7 million. This shows that the Genting Group Berhad have a very strategic planning on how to prevent loss due to SARS disease. I believe that in 2019-2020, where one whole world is suffered from COVID-19, Genting Group Berhad has planned a strategic ways to prevent from the loss as they did in 2003.
So, I want to talk about asset management. Asset management are to measure the efficiency of a company using its existing asset in generating revenue or company income. First, inventory turnover. Inventory turnover is a measure of the number of time inventory is sold or used in a given time period, such as 1 year or 6 months. Inventory turnover is calculated by dividing cost of goods sold and the average inventory level. Or another approach is to divide sales and average inventory. There is no general norm for the inventory turnover ratio. It should be compared against industry average. A relatively low inventory turnover may be the result of inefficient inventory management, and normally a high number indicates a greater sales, but not too high. Inventory turnover for Berjaya Berhad is better on 2002, which is 35.7 compared to the industry average of 10.9 times. This means the company sells its inventory 35.7 times a year compared to the Genting Group Berhad, who can only sell their inventory 1.7 times a year. Next, day sales outstanding. Day sales outstanding is an average collection period in days for the account receivable. For the formula, the sales figures come from income statement and their account receivable comes from the balance sheets. A lower number of days is a better because this means that the company gets money more quickly. The average Berjaya Group Berhad acquisition period of 59 days is unsatisfactory compared to the Genting Group Berhad performance is 32 days at 2002. On average, Genting Group Berhad has good acquisition period 58.9 days to collect debts from customer. Next, fixed asset turnover ratio. Fixed asset turnover ratio compares the sale revenue company to its fixed assets. This ratio tells us how effectively and efficiently a company is using its fixed asset to generate revenue. The formula for calculation of fixed asset turnover ratio is sale revenue divided by total fixed assets. Total fixed assets usually include property, plant, and equipment. There is no standard guideline about the best level of asset turnover ratio. Therefore, it is important to company to compare the asset over the year for the same company. This comparison will indicate whether the company is performing better or worse than others. Next, total asset turnover. Total asset turnover is to measure the efficiency of companies' use of the asset to produce sales. The numerator of the asset turnover formula is revenue, which can found on company income statement, and the denominator shows that total asset which can found on a company balance sheets. The higher number is the better. If there is lower turnover, it might be an indication that the business should either utilize its asset in a more effective manner or sell them. This performance, Berjaya Group Berhad is better than Genting Group Berhad. However, Berjaya Group Berhad should be careful about dishonest replacement of its asset and total turnover ratio due to ratio calculator using the historical cost of the asset.
Next, I will explain on how did the company and the industry perform post-SARS in 2004. As we can see here, the operating revenue for the group increased. This increase was mainly due to higher contributions from the power, plantations, pepper and oil, and gas division. However, these higher profits were set off by the lower earnings contribution from the leisure and hospitality division, and also from the share of loss from the group's indirect associate, which is Star Cruise Limited. Despite the tough business conditions experienced in 2003, the group maintained its focus on developing and growing the existing business divisions until 2004. The company performed very well even a year after the pandemic. The company overcame these challenges by successfully implementing innovative marketing and sales strategies and introducing new and unique entertainment shows, all of which helped to sustain the number of visitors to the resort in 2003. And the last one is, the division was performing well and continues to invest to constantly upgrade its resort facilities. During the year under review, renovation and hotel room upgrading works were undertaken at the resort. The conclusion is, the measures taken was successful to reduce their loss due to SARS until 2004. Genting City of Entertainment continues to win high accolades for its quality attractions. They also was acknowledged as the most supportive shopping complex by Malaysia Tourism Awards 2003. Many tourism industry performances have probably driven into technical bankruptcy for the current situation, including Genting Group Berhad. It is because cash reserves are running down quickly, demand is drying up, and normality is not yet on the horizon. Due to the pandemic of COVID-19, the company hit by the COVID-19 slump followed by the social distancing and the nationwide lockdown. Genting Group Berhad are experiencing major impact and they have to relook on how they manage and operate their business. So, the company can take some measures to make sure they are performing well during COVID-19. The first one is, the company will have to adapt to a new set of rules and be mindful of the following aspects to alleviate risk and to survive the slowdown. The company should track their expenses against the revenue status. They also have to conduct a proper assessment of their fixed and variable expenses as well as the actual revenues. This strategy can be implemented even when the pandemic effect settles. Besides that, they need to check the feasibility of the business model. Considering the market is changing every week, they need to reconsider the business model and reassess where their business stands. They need to evaluate the impact on new sales, collections, credit cycles, and potential bad debt. If the crisis continues for 9 months to a year, the company will have to reconfigure the business strategy to reduce the variable expenses, renegotiate fixed expenses, and focus only on the crucial essentials for survival. Some reconsideration would be required if the effect of the pandemic continues. The company will need to strategize, communicate, and act with compassion. They also will have to keep the communication transparent as much as possible with their investors and employees.
Suggestion to improve company acts during COVID-19 crisis. First, what I can suggest is to identify and repair link with the supply chain. Most companies are likely to experience major disruption to their operation and will be underperforming in the COVID-19 crisis. Working with broken supply chains requires Genting Group Berhad to maintain regular contact with suppliers. Next, keep costs under check and have budget deficit backup. Determine how budget and business plan are impacting the crisis. If the impact is material and previous budget hypothesis and business plan no longer relevant, set goals and revise them. Third, consider how COVID-19 affects all of us. For all leaders, think about every employee emotional, psychological, and physical well-being. as well their family and friends. Seek the most comprehensive information from reliable source to arrive at a set of decision on how to proceed.